What is a body scan meditation? According to Very Well Mind, a body scan meditation involves paying attention to parts of the body and bodily sensations in a gradual sequence from feet to head. This method can help people become more aware of their physical sensations, emotions, and feelings. As a survivor of complex trauma who learned to intellectualize my way to surviving, being aware of my own body is a constant challenge. This type of meditation can be a powerful tool to start learning to become aware of the sensations in our body. Also, it can give us data about what parts of our body are holding the most tension. Today, I want to offer you a guided body scan meditation that you are welcome to incorporate to your healing toolbox. Hi, I am Raysa, a survivor of narcissistic abuse, and I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and you are listening to Hello Trauma Brain, a podcast where I share my experiences living with complex PTSD. My hope is this podcast can help destigmatize mental illness and provide support to anyone diagnosed with C-PTSD who thinks they might have it or has a loved one with this diagnosis. Quick reminder, I am not a licensed psychologist or mental health care professional, and this podcast is not meant to replace nor substitute the care of psychologists, other mental or medical health care professionals. If you think you might have complex PTSD or any of the conditions or disorders mentioned in this podcast, please reach out to your primary care or mental health care provider. Any individuals or resources mentioned in this podcast are not sponsoring Hello Trauma Brain. This episode may reference trauma or abuse, and listener discretion is advised. Remember, you can always pause or skip this episode at any time. And now, let's get back to the episode. Hello, dear survivors, and welcome to this episode of Hello Trauma Brain. Thank you for joining me today. If you are listening on YouTube, a gentle reminder to hit the like button and subscribe to let me know this episode was helpful. Quick check in. It's been a bit rough for me. So, the past two episodes, which were a part one and part two of how the shows The Bear and adolescence capture a lot of the traits of my abusers, took a toll on me, to be honest. And I have been riding a phase of feeling post shame about the episode. At the same time, the hoovering attempts are not stopping. So, it's just been rough, really rough. And I decided to change things up a little bit on this episode and do the guided meditation, not only for you, but also for me to have this episode as a tool for myself as well. And also to have something a bit more simple and more grounding to kind of set the stage for all of us to come down and recover from what was two very triggering episodes before this. So, besides all the hard things that I am doing, I am trying to stay the course in terms of my own healing and taking some risks and trying to get out of my comfort zone. And this weekend, I took two risks. I went to two events that were being hosted by an LGBTQIA plus community group that's local, and one of them was a karaoke night, and it was the second time I went to this event, but the first time I didn't know what to expect, and I feel like my inner kiddo was quite struck with how it was working, and this time I knew what to expect, and I actually had a really nice time and I enjoyed myself, so that was a good win. And then I tried something completely new. I tried a Reiki healing session. I'm still processing what happened and how my body took it. I can tell you that I cried the entire time and then I couldn't stop crying when it ended. And my inner kiddo had a lot of feelings about drawing attention to herself because some of the people that were there were coming over to offer me assistance and help. And they were lovely people. And that as much as I needed that, I also felt the overwhelm. And I've been thinking about this a bit in the past few days because I saw a post online. Someone had gotten a haircut and they were posting that they had post haircut joy. And when I saw that term, it really struck me because I feel like, as someone who has complex PTSD, post joy is not really what I experience about doing something new or something that leads to like a visible change or even an emotional change. I feel like for somebody like me, it is more like post shame. The CPTSD just completely tries to override what I experienced, and it starts just throwing toxic shame at me. I shouldn't have cried that much. I shouldn't have gotten that much attention. Maybe I shouldn't have sang that song at karaoke. Why are you shaking during karaoke? You're a professional singer. All the things. You know how it goes. But either way, I tried the new things and I am still processing the new things, and I am glad I tried them. And I'm learning a lot about myself and about my nervous system and how it handles things. And the last part of my check in will be I am literally like ground zero after the last encounter with yet another insect in my apartment. And at this point, I think I'm just going to own the term. I have entomophobia. I have a phobia of insects, not just the one type, pretty much a lot of types. I feel like there are very rare exceptions that won't put me on a panic mode. It depends. Like, I definitely get more anxious if they are inside my home than if they were outside. I feel like outside I can kind of feel a little bit of the spike in the anxiety and just run away, and that's good enough for me. But when they are inside my home, it is extremely debilitating. And to be honest, I am sick and tired of this, and I need to figure something that works and sticks. I'm working on it. What I will say is, even sitting where I am right now, after the last encounter, which I'm still dealing with, I'll spare you the gory details, but let's just say that I am actually quite shocked I'm sitting here, and I'm proud of myself for still doing it. I also want to take a moment to recognize that for some of you, this weekend is going to be a bit hard. In the United States, Mother's Day is getting celebrated, and I know that a lot of shame and grief can come up during that day. And to you, I want to say it's okay if it's just another Sunday. It's okay if you feel sad. However you're feeling, it's okay. The only thing that was not okay is if you were mistreated, abused, and blamed for what happened to you. That should have never happened. I am thinking about you, and you are so not alone. And I guess I'm ready to jump into this episode. So, for any new listeners, this is FYI a different kind of episode. Usually things roll a little bit different, and I don't do a lot of guided meditations for the podcast. I have only done one guided meditation so far, and it was back in season 1. It was a box breathing guided meditation, and I will link that to the show notes. So today, the healing invitation is going to be the actual meditation. So before we get started, a few things to note. I am not a professional meditation practitioner. I am not licensed in this. I am just a survivor who has listened to plenty of body scan meditations, and I'm just going to take my shot at guiding you through one. Also, please be safe, and please do not try this while you're operating heavy machinery or if you're in the middle of an activity that requires your actual full attention. This is something that you should start with when you are in a safe, calm place where you can take your time. And I have heard some people say that the more you do it, the better and faster you get at doing the actual meditation. And some people use this when they are in a stressful situation and it takes like barely a minute and they're able to calm themselves. And I'm not quite one of those people yet. I actually struggle a lot with the body scan meditation. And I think the reason is because I live inside my brain intellectualizing things. I don't usually spend a lot of time in my body. And I am one of those people who will. And even though I do notice when pain comes, I feel like sometimes it takes me a minute to realize I am in pain. Lately, I've been trying to do more body scan meditations because I realize the potential that they have and the benefit they could bring to me in terms of helping me become more aware of my body. And I have to say, lately, the more I've been doing them, the more I've been noticing slight sensations that I had not noticed before. So, that being said, I figured this would be a good meditation to bring you back after the latest 2 episodes. I also want to be mindful that some of you listening might have a disability or physical limitation that may not allow you to do some parts of the meditation. Feel free to make this your own. I invite you to imagine magical extensions of yourself. You can imagine a luscious mermaid tail, strong, wonderful wings on your back. And this also might be something you use if there's a particular body part that you do not want to focus on. Feel free to choose and focus on another body part while I go through the meditation, and you can always rejoin back at any time. I invite you to save this and come back to this episode anytime you need a guided meditation. I invite you to settle in and start by taking a few deep breaths. I invite you to breathe in, hold, exhale. Let's do another one. Take a deep breath in, hold, and exhale. Let's do one more deep breath, and let's make this the deepest breath you've taken all day. Breathe in, hold, exhale. Let it go. And remember to keep breathing as you do this exercise. Now I invite you to pay attention to your feet. You can even wiggle your toes to help your body bring awareness to that part of your body. Do they feel cold? Warm? Sit with that sensation for just a moment. When you are ready, move on your attention to your ankles. How do they feel? You can even do small circles with your feet, slowly, trying to bring awareness to how does that feel on your ankles. Now I invite you to bring attention to your calf muscles. Any sensations you can notice? Now come up to your knees and notice how your knees feel. Is there any aches? Any temperature you notice? Any tension? We are just noticing today. There is no need to fix, force, or change how they feel. Now come up to your thighs. How do they feel? Are they sore? Do they not feel like anything? Notice and sit with that sensation as we move up to your hips. Hips tend to be a part of the body that hold a lot of tension. How do your hips feel? Do they feel tense or relaxed? We are just noticing. No need to fix it. You might notice new sensations, and that's okay. We are noticing. When you feel ready, move up to your stomach area. I can tell you I struggle a lot with my stomach and how it looks, but today, that's not the focus. We are going to only focus on how it feels. Perhaps you're digesting your latest meal, or maybe your stomach is growling because you might be a little bit hungry. We are noticing. This is a good opportunity to check in on whether you are still breathing. Perhaps you feel your stomach inflating as you breathe. That's a sign that you are using your diaphragm to breathe. Pay attention to how it feels to breathe on your stomach. Are you holding your breath? If so, let it go and start breathing again. Keep breathing as we move on to our chest area. our heart space. For many of us, this is a part that needs so much protection, especially after abuse. How does it feel on your chest? If you're anxious like me, sometimes you might feel like an elephant sitting there. How does it feel right now? Are you still breathing? We're noticing any sensations. Try noticing how it changes as you breathe in and out. When you feel ready, focus on your shoulders, another area that holds a lot of tension. How do they feel? Do they feel tense, relaxed, achy? We are just noticing. Now I invite you to start going down your arms. Let's go to your biceps and upper arm area. What sensations do you notice? Sit with that sensation. Pay attention to it. And now move on to your elbows. How do they feel? Do they feel supported? You're welcome to do some gentle movements with your arms and notice how it feels on your elbows. As you do that, I invite you to start paying attention to your forearms. How do they feel? Are you holding your breath? It's okay if you are. I do that all the time. Try to come back to taking a deep breath and exhaling. And start focusing on your wrists as you do so. Perhaps do some gentle movements with your hands and notice how that feels on your wrists. Another deep breath. And now, focus on your hands. You can move your fingers, maybe do circles slowly with both hands, and notice how it feels. See if you can notice parts of your hand that you don't tend to think about. You're doing so well. Now let's go all the way up to the arms and travel up to your neck. How does it feel? Does it feel constricted? Are you still breathing? Does it feel tense? Relaxed? Focus on the sensation of swallowing. How does that feel? Our necks are so important. Take a breath and notice how it feels on your throat as you breathe in, hold it, exhale. We're almost done. Now, let's focus on our heads. Start with your jaw. You can try doing some light movement, even taking a deep breath and open your mouth wide as you sigh out. How does it feel in your jaw, in your mouth? We are just paying attention. We are not changing anything. We are not forcing anything. How about your nose? Are you able to notice how it feels to breathe in through your nose? Can you feel where the air is coming in and out? Focus on that sensation if you can. You can also wrinkle your nose and see how that feels. Focus on your cheeks. Are they holding tension? When you feel ready, transition to your ears. See if you can pinpoint, if you can feel any temperature in your ears, the back of your ears perhaps. Maybe it feels cold, maybe it feels warm. Notice. How about your eyes? If your eyes are still open, try closing them for a moment. If they are closed, try opening them for a brief moment and see how that feels. Do they feel tired? Constantly taking information for us and processing visual stimuli. How do they feel? What about your eyebrows? Do you feel any sensations there? Now I invite you to come up to your forehead. Does it feel tense, relaxed? We are just noticing. Finally, I invite you to pay attention to the very tip top of your head. How does it feel? Place all your attention there. Any sensations? As we start to come to an end, I invite you to take another deep breath. Breathe in, hold a little bit longer, and breathe out. One more. Deep breath in. You've done this. Hold it. And now the biggest sigh you've let out all day. Take a moment and slowly, if you have your eyes closed, I invite you to open them and start introducing gentle movement to your body. Wiggle your toes, perhaps windshield wipe your legs. You can move your arms slightly, perhaps with your head yes and no motions. Sit for one last moment with how are you feeling? Well done. I am so proud of you. Thank you for joining me for this meditation. I invite you to think about what sensations you noticed, any parts of your body that were achy that you did not realize were hurting before this, any parts of your body that have been feeling better that you had not realized had improved. I invite you to sit with what you found. And you are welcome to come try this again anytime and see how your awareness of your body evolves as you keep doing this exercise. Before we wrap up this episode, all music and production is courtesy of yours truly. Also, I want to share a few ways you can support this podcast. You can subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or the platform that you are using to listen. Share this episode with anyone you think could find this podcast helpful. Subscribe to the Hello Trauma Brain YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when I post a new episode. And you can make a donation via PayPal. I want to thank you in advance for your support. A little can go a very long way in helping the podcast reach more survivors that could benefit from finding this content. No worries, all links will be provided in the show notes. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found this episode helpful. I wish you the best as you heal your relationship with your own body. It is time for our farewell affirmations. I invite you to repeat after me. I welcome the belief that I am enough. I am lovable. And I deserve to heal. I wish you a gentle week and thank you for your presence.